Hey, what you folks? How's it going? I've had a few thoughts today regarding the Disclosure Day story that's going on at the minute. I've also turned my microphone up a bit. I'm just trying to work on a few issues, which is fine because it's early days and it's all just teething problems. I'll be honest with you, this is just a place for me to vent, really. A place for me to um, vent about the current state of the West, current state of Hollywood, and how it seems to be following the same degenerative path. And today it's to rant about Disclosure Day, which interestingly is, well, it's turned out exactly as I thought it would, which is it's shit. Okay, it's a terribly made film. Everybody seems to be going crazy about Emily Blunt, but I'm just not a big fan. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't have anything against her. I don't dislike her. I'm just not a big fan of her. And seeing people going, "Oh my god, it's amazing. She didn't want to use CGI for the clicking noises. She actually made that herself." Wow, that's a real talent. I could never just sit there and go, "Yeah, I could never do that." You need to be, something pretty special to do that. But anyway, these are the thoughts I've been having today. My initial thoughts for this disclosure, when I saw this, my thoughts were, this isn't a film. This is just propaganda. Um, and my initial thoughts were, as I said to my mate, he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go and watch it." I'm like, "Come on, man, you're down the rabbit hole with me. You know what this is all about. Uh, this is the like soft disclosure for the normies, the ones who don't live down the rabbit hole like we do, and haven't been reading about this stuff for 30 years. Don't watch every single bit of footage we can find on UFOs and secret underground bases and dimensions and parallel worlds and just everything. We're all over it. But the normies, you mentioned something like Project Bluebeam to them, and they don't know what you're talking about. They haven't got a clue. You mentioned someone like Klaus Schwab to the normies, no idea. World Economic Forum, not a clue. They haven't got a clue because they just blinkered and they just watch. They watch the news at 10 or whatever it is, the BBC and all that shit, and it just feeds them. It fills their brain. So you mentioned something, like aliens or something, and they'll just be like, "Oh, conspiracy theory. You don't believe all that, do you?" But the minute it goes mainstream, they'll be like, "Yeah, no, actually, yeah, no. I've always said, there was things, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing." So my initial thoughts were that's what Disclosure Day was going to be. It was going to be disclosure for normies to get them used to the idea of a lot of the things that we know, out there. But I've kind of had second thoughts on it today after hearing some of the things coming in from like even like, I wouldn't call them normie reviewers, but I would call them sort of mainstream reviewers. Some people I might call not shills necessarily, but I know that there's people that are reviewing this film that got to see it early. So a lot of those people would be the sort of people normally that'd be like, "My God, this is a masterpiece. This is the greatest thing you've ever seen," because they have to say that because they've been given the red carpet treatment. But even a lot of them are going, "This is shit. Like, this is not a film. This is just terrible." And and then my theory for this is, what I kind of feel is, this wasn't put out so much as to show the normies what the rest of us know. It was more of a test run. Um, it was more of a soft practice run, just to see how people reacted to it, to see if people watched it and were like, "Oh my god, that was." Have you seen that Disclosure Day film? Have you seen what they're saying in that film? And Steven Spielberg, he's always loved aliens, and is he like got inside information? And have you seen what they're saying? They're saying that, like, aliens exist and we've been in communication with them, and they're thinking about telling the world. Nobody's saying that at all. The response that I'm seeing from this film is No one cares. Absolutely nobody cares. The normies don't care, and the people like myself, the ones down the rabbit hole, the ones that know about all this stuff and been reading about it for years, nobody cares. This film has had zero cultural impact. Not like The Matrix, which opened, 1,000 people's eyes. Oh my God, computer simulations, the way that we're all modern day slaves. This has had zero cultural impact whatsoever. And I think it explains a lot of things. I think this is how they've kind of tested the water just to see what people's reaction is. No one cares. And from what I'm hearing, people are saying there is nothing in this movie. There is nothing in this movie that you don't already know, you aren't already aware of. For us who are slightly down the rabbit hole. But I'm getting the feeling even the normies are just like, this is stuff we've all seen before. And from everything I'm hearing, this is a film that's been done 1,000 times before. And the aliens, which was shown in the freaking trailer, briefly, but you saw them, were just greys. They were just alien greys, which, how long have we been seeing greys? Since UFO stories existed, since cave paintings, since the X-Files, Fire in the Sky, and a million other films. Independence Day, how many films have used that design? They didn't even want to be like, yeah, we're going to create a totally different, alien. We're going to give them something completely different. This is going to blow their minds. No, they went for the most generic design possible. And that says to me, that's just reinforcement that is the alien that we're in contact with, or one of them at least. There's all these things have been dropping. The Trump department, what are they called? The Trump administration. Dropping all these files. How many stories we've seen even in like normie magazines like the Mail, all showing the footage. The grainy footage of UFOs. We've had Obama say, yeah, aliens exist, but I'm not in contact with them and they're not at Area 51. Whatever, there's people going on Joe Rogan podcast. Aliens, all over the place. And we had 2, I think, documentaries. Can't think of his name. Bit of an unusual looking guy, got quite a big head, shaved head. And he did one, I think it was on Amazon. And I think it was just called Disclosure or Full Disclosure. I can't remember now. I think he did 2 of them, and his conclusion from the one that I saw was it was a long documentary. It's fascinating, but his conclusion was the reason they keep it secret was to do with the form of energy that they're using. Because he was basically saying, like, free energy will set you free. Everything. So many things we do are for the pursuit of energy, and if we had free energy, it would just free people up. We could travel space, we could go anywhere, we could do what we wanted. And he said that was one of the reasons that they were keeping them secret. But there's been so many of these alien things out there, and I think this was the test in the way that there's nothing in this film that people haven't seen. So it's had zero impact. No one cares. Nobody's interested. And this is the moment that they've been priming us for, I think. It's as the world accepted that the greys are the general view, they're the image of aliens that we're going to get. That when they appear, they're going to look like greys. And no one's like, oh my God, did you see how weird the design was? Like the eyes, their face, it's like this weird. They're calling them greys or whatever. Nobody cares. The imprint is now done. It isn't shocking people and no one's interested. And I think this was the test that they put out there to see what the reaction would be. Rather than to show people, the normies, what we already know. Maybe the normies even know it as well. And maybe not as detailed as we know, but they at least know what a grey looks like. So it's not a shock to them. It's nothing. It's meh. People aren't remotely interested. And this would explain actually, this would explain a lot of things about this film, because if, let's just say, you wanted to do something else, let's say, we've got the theories, the stories that, they went to Stanley Kubrick and said, make us a moon landing film. Boom. And that's what they used. Is it so crazy that they would go to Steven Spielberg, who's always doing, UFO films, and say, look, we need you to put a film out there. We want to test the waters. We want to see what people's reactions are like. This is what it's going to be about. We're even going to use the word disclosure, which has been used in all these, documentaries and things. We want to see if the normies even know about disclosure. So they got Steven Spielberg to put it together, because he can put a film together. He can come up with a story. He can create something. He's got the effects. But when you look at this film, and just from the trailers, when I was looking at the trailers, I could see it looks shit. Like, it looks so cheap and nasty, and he CG'd the shit out of everything. Every scene just looked like CG'd to fuck. The train, the cars going through the house, all the animals were CG'd, and the alien itself, horrendously nasty, cheap CG, which it kind of reminded me of a game that I used to have on, I think it was on the N64. I think it was the N64. Damn it, I can't remember what it was called. It was like Space Alien. I cannot remember now. There was aliens in it anyway, and they were greys, and they looked just like that. So yeah, it would explain why the story is just like, there's no storyline really. I've heard it's just one long chase scene. Everything looks cheap, looks nasty, because it's not a passion project. He's not gone, oh my God, I've got this idea in my heart that I want to make this film. They've gone to him and said, look, can you knock something up? It's a bit like if you did, if you do a prototype or something, you don't use all the best top class materials and make it look amazing and put a lovely case around it and make it look perfect. The prototype's just like it's all like sellotape together, And that's kind of what I feel like they've done here. That would explain why this film is so meh, why this film is so shit. But I think it's done its job. And if they are watching for the reaction on this, especially reading comments like, there is nothing in here that you don't already know, there's nothing in here that you haven't seen before, that means that globally everyone knows about this stuff now. They could literally shove, just like they do in this film apparently, they can literally wheel an alien out on the news, and people will be like, did you see that alien? Yeah, there's aliens out there. All right, back to Instagram. Back to my dinner. Yeah. Oh, I've got to take the kids to school. Oh, if you fix the car. I just don't think it's going to affect anything at all. I really don't. So they've done their job. They've absolutely done their job. Nobody cares that aliens, that we've got contact with aliens. It would be the biggest story, in our existence, actual contact with aliens, but no one seems to care. One of the other things I was thinking about today as well, actually, I find this a bit weird, this obsession that government agencies have to keep aliens secret. And apparently, this is another point I wanted to cover as well, apparently in the film there is quite a heavy theme of what does this mean for Christianity? The Christians going to have to question themselves. And from what I've heard, it's only Christianity that they're touching. Obviously, they would never touch Islam because they are shit scared. They all are terrified of Islam. And you know what they say? If you want to know who's in charge, just look at who you can't criticize. But yeah, it's Christianity is the one that we've got to destroy, because that's the Western religion, you see. So we're destroying everything in the West. The physical. We need to destroy the spiritual and the religious as well, so we can destroy Christianity. But a lot of the comments that I've read today from people who clearly are practicing Christians, they've said that they've come at this from a completely wrong angle. They've said that aliens, and I remember the Pope himself saying the existence of aliens would not discount Christianity. And all these comments I'm seeing are saying the exact same thing, they've come at this from a mindset that doesn't know about Christianity. They just want to destroy it. But they all said the same thing. They said, like, God is infinite, his power is infinite, and one other thing that he created doesn't disprove his existence. It's just another part. It's infinite. The cosmos is infinite. So if they're trying to destroy it, they've gone about it completely the wrong way. And the other thing I was thinking was, okay, let's say they are sitting there going, God, what does this mean? What does this mean for Christianity? Should we tell the people? Like, why would that even matter anyway? Because if aliens exist, which, let's face it, we know they do, many, many different types on many different planets in many different galaxies, I'm sure. But let's say that they are holding this proof of it and they're having communications with them. What does it matter what it's going to affect? It's just the truth. Right, there's aliens that exist and they're on this other planet. This is how they get there. They've got some sort of interstellar travel. The truth is the truth. Why is it relevant? The fallout from that, that these people, these government bodies are more, they're so much better than us that they can hold on to that and go, do the people deserve that? Like, it's no more, if aliens exist and they're real and they're out there, it's no more real than a mountain existing or a cavern somewhere or a building. It's the same thing. Or, we've discovered a long lost fish in the ocean. Or should we tell the people? Should we tell the people? Because it changes the fossil records. It's true. It exists. It's like the sky is blue. Should we tell the people the sky is blue? Yes, you absolutely should. You absolutely should tell people the truth. The truth is the truth. And the way that people react to that is, okay, some people might freak out and think the world is ending, but it doesn't stop it from being the truth. So yeah, it's not even a case of whether people deserve to know or not. It's just knowledge. It's just something that exists. So that was kind of one of my other thoughts. I think it explains a lot as to why this film is so bad. And it's interesting to see a lot of reviews from normies who possibly still think Steven Spielberg, makes the amazing films that he used to, which obviously he doesn't. And they're just really shocked. They're like, I don't get this. Why is this film so bad? So maybe those guys don't understand at all. But again, their focus is, this film is shit, this film is bad, you've seen it all before. So even though they don't really get it, they don't understand why, they know that they've seen all this before, and none of it is a shock. So if these government agencies are out there right now and they put this out there to measure the reaction, and based on that they're going to reveal information, well, they've got the perfect reaction if they want to reveal the information, because nobody's paid any attention to this film. And I think there's also apparently a bit in it at the end when they reveal the alien, where people are going, is this real? Is this AI? So they've obviously prepared for that as well, because people will think, oh, is this AI, if they stick an alien out there? Or maybe that'll be their thing. They'll release the information and just let people speculate themselves and go, is it real? Is it AI? I don't know. I'm going to add one more thing before I close this ramble down, which I found interesting. The poster, if you know, like Illuminati, all-seeing eye, all that sort of stuff. What is, if you search like Illuminati, what is it that comes up? It's this, isn't it? It's people closing one eye like that. Look at the picture. One eye. Okay, could be a coincidence, could be a load of bullshit, but it's interesting, isn't it, that they chose that image of closing not both eyes, just one eye. Yeah, I found that a little bit interesting. Well, more interesting than the film anyway. Some thoughts I had for today that I wanted to pass on to you guys. But anyway, what do you think? Let me know down below. Hit the buttons, like and subscribe. You know I'm a new channel, and yeah, do with some support. And always love it when you guys join in. Drop me a few comments down below. Don't really care what you're saying. Say anything you want. Not bothered. It's a pleasure to have you on board. It really is. But I would certainly be interested in your thoughts about this as well. But I've seen some interesting trailers I'm going to look at. If I can get through the copyright, and I'll put them up for you. But until then, take it easy, guys, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.